Okay. All right. So the topic of this class that so many people have come to is going to be Sefiras omer. So it's more of a basic class. So I apologize if you know everything I'm going to say. But that is what it is. So we're here. We're going to record it, and it'll be for prosperity. Okay. So first of all, we'll talk about the history of Sefiras omer, when it started, and all that. So Sefiras omer, as everybody, most of you know, is the counting from the time of the Jewish people leaving Egypt, right, on the day after Pesach, the first day of Pesach, and it goes for 49 days until the giving of the Torah, which is on Shavuot. And the original counting of Omer is really the Jewish people's countdown or count up, as we shall see, is really to the holiday of Shavuot. The other part of Sefiras Omer is also the Omer offering, right? Which is when we count on the first day of the Omer, the first morning, is when day one, meaning the day after Pesach, first day of Pesach, after the Seder, and they would bring the Omer offering, which was barley, which was a unique offering. It was the only time barley was offered as a communal offering in the Beis Hamikdash, and that was kind of the beginning of the new season and the beginning of the Omer, which is why it's called Sefiras Omer, the counting from the time of the Omer. And really, with the counting, besides for counting towards Matan Torah, towards the giving the Torah, was also the counting of the Jewish people, as we hinted to before. We said that the Jewish people weren't counting down, right? The Jewish people were counting up. Generally, when you're counting to something exciting, you count, okay, we have 10 days left to your wedding, 20 days left till school's out, right? Etc. 400 days left till the coronavirus countdown. Hopefully not, right? Etc. You count down. Hopefully this is going to end soon, right? We're going to get there. But in the case of Jewish people, they counted up because really they were building themselves up. They were building up, they were building up their character. And that's one of the things that we do during Sefiras Omer. Every single night we mention one character trait that we're improving in ourselves. And the Jewish people, when they left Egypt, they were really they were in a very tough situation. They were in one of the lowest levels of impurity possible, and they had to really transform themselves in order to be receptacles for the giving of the Torah. They were not prepared at all. In fact, in the month of the holiday of Pesach, right? It says that we say at the Seder that Hashem had to take us out of Egypt Himself, right? It wasn't possible that it said, right, not an angel, not a Sefiras, not a messenger, right? That God Himself had to take us out of Egypt because, truthfully, it wasn't really possible for anyone else to take the Jewish people out of Egypt, and the Jewish people couldn't even leave Egypt on their own because they were in such a low level. Only God Himself, there's no distinction, on God Himself was able to take the Jewish people out of Egypt, and that's the word Sefiras Omer, which is the counting of the Omer. Could also mean the word Sephira could also mean to shine. And the Jewish people were really making themselves, shining themselves, improving themselves, and that is what Sefiras Omer is about. Okay. The next quick thing to get into were the laws of counting of the Omer, right? So how do you do it, right? So it's 49 days we mentioned. The Torah is very specific that these 49 days have to be complete days. So how do we have complete days? So the first way we have complete days is that we count in the evening, right? We know that in the Jewish calendar, the counting of the, the day starts with the night, right? That really the night is the beginning of the new calendar day. So therefore, in order to make the blessing on the counting of the Omer, one has to count the Omer at nighttime, preferably obviously in the beginning of the nighttime. So traditionally, it's done during the evening service, right, which is said at the beginning of the night, preferably before midnight. So, but generally in the beginning of the night, the main thing at night. And when it's wanted to count in the morning, one is not able to say a blessing on that counting because it's not a complete day, right? That's the idea. It has to be 49 complete days. However, if one did count that day, he could count the next day as well. But But if you miss a day, you're not able to continue to count because you've lost that element of completion of all the days. So it has to be. There's two elements of completion. All the days have to be complete, meaning a complete 49 days, and then each individual day as well has to be um, each individual day as well has to be a complete day. All right. So now let's get into about the Sefiras Omer, the counting of the Omer vis-a-vis the month of ER that we entered this past Shabbos. Right, it was the first day of the month of ER, and what's unique about Sefiras Omer is that it's in the month of ER is the only month that has a mitzvah on every day of the month, a unique mitzvah. Obviously, every day has a mitzvah we can do. We can wear tefillin every day. We can put on a talis every day. We could wear tzitzis every day. We could daven every day. We could pray every day, etc., etc. But that is a unique mitzvah that can't be done any other day is only the month of the year. For example, in the month of Nisan that we just came out of, right? The month of Pesach, or Passover, there's the special mitzvah of eating the matzah. That only applies to the night of the Seder, or even if you want to say that there's a mitzvah to eat matzah, the entire Passover still only 7 days. But the same thing applies to the month of Tishrei, right? We shake the wool of an esrog and eat the sukkah is only those few days, but not the entire month. Even though that we say the entire month becomes blessed, right? Because of that, it's a special month. The entire month of Tishrei and the entire month of Nisan are very special months. But however, it's only those days that there's the actual mitzvah. And again, unique to the month of Iyar and the mitzvah of counting of the Omer is that not only is it unique that every single day has a unique mitzvah, but that the unique mitzvah is the counting itself, right? All the other mitzvahs, okay, so on this day, we eat the matzah. On this day, we blow the shofar, etc. But on the month of Iyar, we're actually counting the days themselves. The days themselves become sanctified. And not only that, we mentioned earlier about the idea that the months have to be, the days have to be complete, right? And not only that, you have to have all 49 days, but every day itself has to be complete in order to do the mitzvah properly. We see there's an equality between all these days, right? Every single day of the year, which is the only month that has the entire summer, right? Just to backtrack a little bit, right? The month of Nisan has some of the days have, the month of Sivan, a couple of days have. For the month of the year, every single day is equal. There's an equality that you need every single day individually. So to understand this a little more, this idea of this equality of the days in the month of the year, what's this idea? The month of Iyar is spelled in Hebrew Aleph Yud Yud Resh, and that is a few acronyms for them. Which one of them is Ani Hashem Rochacha, right? I am Hashem, I am God, your healer, which is obviously very apropos to the times we're living. Yeah, but there's another one, another acronym for the month of Iyar is Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Rachel, which represents the patriarchs and our matriarchs, right? Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Rachel. And in Chassidus and Chassidic philosophy, that what is Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, and Rachel? What are these four? Why these four people? And it's explained that these four of our patriarchs and matriarchs are representing Merkava. In Tanya, in chapter 23, it's explained what's the Merkava. The Merkava means a chariot, and it refers to a eternal chariot. It's actually in the Haftorah on the first day of Shavuot. It's explained in the prophets. Explains this whole idea that God has chariots and these celestial. And when it comes to this Merkava, to this chariot, what is a chariot, right? What is a chariot? A chariot is a vehicle, literally, to the rider, right? So whoever's riding the chariot controls where the chariot goes. And in fact, the chariot has none of its own ideas, right? The chariot doesn't like, listen, you want to go to Texas? Well, guess what? I'm not interested, right? The chariot has no say whatsoever, right? It's not like a modern day smart car that has right? Now they might have a little bit of a say, right? Oh, I want to park here. No, you can't park here. Beep, 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 beep. Oh, but in a chariot, idea is that it's completely it's completely given over to the rider, and in fact, it has none of its own ideas, and even more so. So when it comes to a spiritual chariot, it means really you're talking about um, somebody who's meaning these four people represent a chariot, a godly chariot. Chariot, you mean four people who are completely given over to God, right? That they have none of their own identity, and they view themselves solely as a vehicle to God, right? So in other words, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Rachel, whatever they did was for God, right? Every single thing they did, it was not only thing was their own ideas, nothing was their own identity, but rather they were totally subjugated to God. And even and like with it says in Mishlei and Proverbs, and all your ways you shall know God, right? So in other words, in every single aspect, in every single aspect of your life, um, you have to. Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so every aspect of your life should be totally given over to God. And now, in other places, it's discussed this similar idea of Choma Sacha Yu L'Shem Shemayim. Uh, all your deeds should be for the sake of heaven. That's referring to the fact that we have bodily functions, we have needs, we have we need to get parnasa, etc. All the different things that we need in our life. Those things we need in order to serve God, right? So if I have enough money, I'll be able to give charity. If I have enough money, I could buy an esrog for something. If I have enough money, I could have membership in a synagogue, and I could attend synagogue, and we could build a synagogue, etc. That's saying that really you have your own ideas, right? And then I have God's ideas, and if I have what I need, God will have what He. But when it comes to Bechol Derechach Ehu, which means in all your ways you shall know God, it means not just the fact that you're doing those things in order that you should be able to participate in society and participate in God's commandments, but even more so that every single thing you're doing in and of itself is a service to God. So even to meaning not just when you eat, it's in order that you should have the strength to pray, but that the eating itself could become a spiritual act, right? And the parnasa, the making money itself, to be a spiritual idea, and and um, and the truth is that that we have the ability to do that, right? And that's what Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, and Rachel, they excelled in this point that they're considered. They are the godly chariot. They are God's, I guess you could call it, representatives, and fully subjugated to God in a way that they they did not have their own identity. So now let's bring it back home to the month of Iyar and the counting of the Omer. So as we said earlier, the counting of the Omer is really all about. Oh, oh, oh. Hi Barry. Welcome. Okay, so it became a family Zoom. Okay, so the counting is. Are you on mute? Can you mute Barry? No, I'm muted. Okay, now I'm back. All right,
Oh,
Barry, can
okay.
you mute? Can you mute?
I'm on mute.
No, mute. Can you mute?
Yeah, I can mute. Hold on.
Okay. We'll unmute in 1 minute. Thank you. All right. So that we okay. Just to wrap it up. So the idea of Sefiras Omer, the counting of Omer, as we said, it's still this idea of Abraham, Isaac, Rachel, to that they are completely subjugated to God and they have no identity of their own and they're totally given over to God and everything they do is for Hashem. That's exactly what Sefiras Omer is all about, right? We're counting the Omer where we are counting towards the giving of the Torah. This is the preparation we need for the giving of the Torah. It's not enough that we're just It's not enough that we're just, okay, we have our ideas and we have God's ideas, right? That was kind of what was happening before the giving of the Torah. The giving of the Torah gives us the ability to really, and really, in order to get the Torah, we need to be completely subjugated to God in a way that we have none of our own identity, total nullification, right? Total subjugation to God. And this is really the bridge between the month of Nisan and the month of Sivan, right? That here is the bridge between the giving of the Torah, and I'm sorry, between the Exodus and the giving of the Torah. In the month of, in order that we should get to that idea to giving the Torah and the godliness that in the revelation that was in the giving of the Torah, we need to first have the Sefiras omer, the month of Iyar, which is, like we said, the idea of the Chol Derech knowing God in everything that we do. And any have any questions, comments, you can unmute and you can ask your questions. Nobody has any questions or comments. Okay, you could still unmute.